Hey guys, Ryan here from Thailand Retro Mods. Let me give you a little bit of a rundown of today's episode. We're going to be looking at the PCV system, which is positive crankcase ventilation, the smoking out the top of the oil cap, which was one of the big concerns when I purchased this vehicle. I'm pretty sure that it's just some blocked up evac pipes and boxes that they've got in these things, or it could be bad rings and, you know, blow by and all that kind of stuff, which means the engine's not really healthy. Let me give you a little bit of a rundown on the purchase of this. This car is beginning to get to be a little bit of a sore point for me. So when I purchased this, I'd actually already bought another V70 in Thailand. It was a black one, owned by a fairly wealthy family. They had brand new BMWs and stuff in there. The car had BBS rims, really good hand-cooked tires, so it obviously been pretty well looked after. The interior was trashed, but the guy had put a new engine in it and he had it tuned. I took it for a drive and the thing went like stink. Really fun, pretty much everything I wanted. It had the 5-cylinder and it had an exhaust system on it, so it ticked the two boxes. You know, it had the power and it had the sound, which is really what I was chasing. After I purchased it off him, he started to do a little bit of a backflip on the car, and at the time I hadn't quite sold my Benz yet, so I didn't really have the cash that I wanted to throw on this and then own two cars when I needed to sell one. And he was balking on the sale because I'd pretty much got it for 200,000 baht, which was really cheap, and he pulled out, and so I ended up with this one. This one cost me 250,000 baht for purchase, but it was much newer. It was 2006 model, only had 180,000 on the clock, had a good service history from Volvo, and it had the engine that I really wanted. The other one, the guy told me, is a 2.5 litre, but it wasn't really, it was a 2.4. So this car on paper ticked all the boxes. Then the second I bought this thing, it started to go wrong. I took it to a workshop in Bangkok, which is the guys will show you to. Now, when I went there, I kind of wanted a pre-purchase inspection, you know, do the kind of stuff you do in Australia. We checked it all over. All the bushes seemed pretty good. I did miss a leak on the inside of the strut, my bad, but at the same token, this Volvo workshop just kind of went, are you buying it or not? No, didn't really do any of the kind of pre-purchase stuff that you would expect them to do, or that I was paying them to do. So kind of a little bit of a frustrating thing. And then I went back there again, never. You know, I spent the money with them, and on the day that I went to pick the car up, they sent me a photo of the struts out of the car saying that, oh, there's a problem with the front suspension. Then they charged me to take it out, then labor, and then they were trying to make me to get forced snap decisions on purchasing expensive parts 2 hours before I was supposed to pick the car up. Nah, not copping that. So I took the car and I headed back to Noom, which I'll show you in this video. So this car now has cost me 250 for the purchase and probably about another 30,000 baht on parts. But at the end of the day, I'm now committed to this car. So what we want to do, the end result, is we want to get that power. We really want to have the 300 horsepower. We want the VVT intake and exhaust, all the good stuff from the engine. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have at it. This is what modifying cars is all about, guys. So stick with me today. Hit that like and subscribe button down the bottom, and let's get started. Hey guys, so welcome to today's episode. What we're doing today is going down to one of the dedicated Volvo service centers here in Bangkok, and we're going to be installing all the stage 0 bits. So that's new coils, new plugs, the PCV system. We've figured out that we can use the factory standard coil plugs in our coils just by dremeling off a little bit, which we'll show you in a second. And then apart from that, we're just going to get all the bits back, a new water pump to go along with the timing belts. By that level, we should have a bit of an idea about the amount of power that the car has, and trying to get the power back up is really what we want to be doing, getting it back to factory original, getting every sensor being talked to and getting correct readings so that we can start to crank the power up. Cool. So So this is the problem we've got, which is the R engine coil. So you'll see that this is actually different to the standard one, and the plugs in the middle here, so these are actually different. So if you look at when you go to plug it in at the top there, the top clip works, so that was what I was looking for. So the clip going in actually clips in, which is good, but the problem is on the bottom, the runners fail on here because the runners are made for the original one. So what we're going to do is just going to trim off the runners here and here. So that way, as long as the top's got the clip and we've got the rubber seats, it'll fit in nicely. So this is about a quarter of the price. So we're going to use these, Dremel off the two runners, and then it'll be good to go. So at the shop in Bangkok, the Volvo Centre, we got a new water pump. We put in the new coils and plugs, and also spark plugs as well, and also put in the new timing chain. Then on the morning that I was supposed to pick the car up, they sent me a photo of the front struts out, and they said that when the mechanic was taking it for a test drive, he noticed a bang and now it's not safe to drive, and then they tried to charge me extra to get all the suspension put back together and labour and wheel alignment and all this, and basically tried to double the bill on the morning I was going to pick the car up. So yeah, no thank you very much, goodbye, back up to good old Chonburi and our main Volvo work centre with Kunnu. Okay, so we're back at Kunnoom's workshop AO Auto up in Chonburi after getting some work done on the car in Bangkok. I was trying out one of the Volvo service centres down there that I originally went to. Don't think I'll be heading back there. Just didn't really seem to be on board with diagnosing whatever was wrong with the car. They said gearbox problem. So what we've got at the moment is the engine isn't talking to the gearbox, so we're going to run it on the Vita software, see what kind of error codes we can come up with, and then start the troubleshooting problems.
Saw you looking through my window, premonition of the light from worlds apart. All your stories and your pipe dreams came to life for me in moments after dark. Saw you sleeping in my nightmares, premonition of the light from worlds apart. All your stories and your pipe dreams came to life for me in moments after dark.
So we're just removing a little bit of the overflow from the gearbox oil because we noticed that it was making a bit of a bang in reverse just when it was hot. So this stuff has got to be within 100 mil or so. When I'd done the gearbox oil change myself, I was worried it was a little bit low. It was right touching on the low end. And then when they decided, the mechanics in Bangkok, to fill it up, it ended up being right on the top end and started making noises. So yeah, good work guys, way to damage your gearbox. So when you're checking the gearbox oil levels, you want to do it with the engine running. It should be, these are very sensitive, you've got to be within, you know, 150 to 200 mils top to bottom, hot to cold on these. As we say, we're just right on the top. Yeah, Noom, good. Yep, good. Noom's happy, so yep, good to go. So that should at least stop the banging in reverse when she's hot. So typically the symptoms of having too much oil in your gearbox is when it's hot. You'll feel when you go into reverse, it'll have an audible bang, and that's usually a pretty dead giveaway, especially if you've just been monkeying with it, like changing oil or putting in new gearbox coolers and stuff like that. This was when it was hot making the bang, not when it was cold, so it took me a little bit longer to diagnose. But when they were topping the oil back up, I made the comment, you know, I think that's a little bit too much, and they thought, no, that's fine. But we just took out about 150 mil, and now she's back to normal. So cheap fix, 2 minutes, job done. I've got a really good parts distribution setup going now. The mechanics in place, so there is some exciting stuff happening. There is some good stuff going on, and let's walk through that today. Me and Kun Noom spending a little bit of time coming up with a strategy about how to get this car going well. So we have some new toys. We've got some proper European gas struts, Sux models, so 2 brand new gas struts. We've got some rubber dust hoses. We've already got the bushing in the top that's already been replaced, so hopefully by the time we get these in the car, the front end will be running a bit smoother, which will be absolutely lovely. The good thing about these is they were cheap. From the Volvo distribution center, parts center in Bangkok, the pair was 6,000 baht, so that's like 220 US dollars, I think. Translation will be down the bottom here. So yeah, pretty cheap fix. And would you believe it or not, all the smoke is gone. So Problem with the smoking engine, wasn't blow by, it wasn't bad rings, it was literally just all the positive crankcase ventilation, oil trap system was just clogged up, and now it's fixed. Nice. So if you don't know how to do a test for the crankcase vents, you can put a rubber glove over there. If it blows up, you got positive. If it gets sucked in, you got negative, and this is definitely getting sucked in, which is a great sign, which means we have a good system. Hey guys, I hope you all enjoyed this week's episode. Next episode, we're going to be getting to the diagnosing of the electrical systems and all the error codes, and then tuning the car. So we're actually going to be getting a little bit more power out of it now that we're at stage 0. Hope you all enjoyed it. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe, and next episode should be coming out shortly. Thanks.